again, I feel like that the class system in the UK is actually not as clear cut as we make it out to be, because I could even take my situation, and I think there are so many factors within that. But just for argument's sake, I'm in the underclass where, like I said, mum's on benefits, mum doesn't work, I don't have a support system, you know, whatever. I'm privileged in some ways, but we've discussed that before, and I will get into that. And yeah, I think this year, so coming out of uni, seeing where people are going and seeing what people are doing at the moment has made me realize of my position. It's made me realize that I am a working class musician. Even though I am working, I am a working class musician. I grew up from the underclass, so maybe I'm one rung up, maybe. But because of my background, because of the lack of my mum's social standing, and because of the lack of support that I currently have, I'm not talking about like, oh my god, no, I support you, you support this podcast. I'm talking about physical support. Like, do I have? If I were to be homeless tomorrow, would I be okay? And the reality is, I wouldn't. You know, like, it's things like that that is starting to sit with me a lot. It's starting. I don't know. It's just starting to kind of. I'm starting to kind of come into it. I'm starting to realize my situation, and I'm trying to not be too hard on myself about that, because it is really hard. And you know, I think this is what I was talking about early in the podcast, when I was saying, oh, I don't know, I'm going to test out some articles. This is one of the articles I want to test out about being a working class musician, because I feel like some people need to get a bit realistic, because it's not just even money, it's not access, it's not just contacts. Because like I said, I can technically record in my room because of university, and because I've been able to buy certain mics and whatnot, and because I am in a pretty good place in North London. I do have a lot of access to, you know, mics and whatever, you know. And yes, I don't have a lot of money, fuck off, but you know, you know, I do have a stable-ish job. I do have and I'm lucky is that I do have qualifications to say if this were to fuck up completely, excuse me, I would be able to what's the word? I would be able to kind of oh my god, sorry, I'm really gassy. I would be able to come out of that, you know? So, you know, I'm not completely done out here when in terms of like work and money and all that kind of stuff. And I do have a few contacts and all the, you know, all those things. But it's even just like things like time. You know, working class people aren't afforded time. And it's really interesting. And I'm going to say I'm deviating a little bit, because, you know, I really was talking about the NAP ministry, and they talk about as rest as resistance, and I still do agree with their cause, you know, like 80-90%. You know, I really do appreciate what they're doing and kind of making people kind of, I guess, I again hate this word, but kind of decolonize, or like de-emphasize the focus of capitalism and being a workaholic and things like that. I completely agree with that. But again, I don't also think it's realistic for people like me, you know, and for people who are worse off than me. Because, you know, it's not realistic, because yes, I can get my full, I'm starting to get my full 8 hours sleep, you know, I'm starting to get my full, you know, eating better and all that kind of jazz. But, you know, if I have money to be made, I can't just take spontaneous days of work. I can't just have a day I'm like, you know what, just gonna zone out, you know. I'm personally privileged enough to be a freelancer, so even though I'm taking on all this work and, you know, I don't have a lot of time, if I felt like it on Monday and I wanted to be like, oh, you know what, fuck all of this, I'm just gonna, you know, live back with my mum or whatever, which that would be unrealistic, but say if I was to, be hard, but I could, you know. But realistically, as a working class musician, you don't get a lot of time. And you know, say if you're working full time or even part time and you're tired, and you realistically, let's be honest here, there aren't many full time / part time jobs that that are not emotionally taxing, because even if a quote unquote office job or a supermarket job, they are tiring. You know, you still have to recover. That's why they give us weekends. They ask us to recover. But for me, obviously, I still work on the weekends or whatever. You know, things like that. It's like I'm starting to really realize that I don't have a lot of time.